Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is the latest film in the MCU universe. And once again, Benedict Cumberbatch replays Doctor Strange, the title character. This time around, he discovers a young girl named America Chavez who has the ability somehow to jump between these multiverses, and of course with that great power comes someone who wants to garner that power for themselves. So I had a really great time with this movie because first of all, I love Sam Raimi, and Sam Raimi is the director of this movie, and he also directed the first two Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire. But even before that, he had this really fun horror movie background with the Evil Dead movies and with Darkman. I just love his visual style, and he just kind of has this kind of sick, kind of almost cheesy, like humorous quality to his horrors. It's not like really gory, it's not really that scary, but it's just fun horror, which I love what he brings to this movie. And I think there's definitely a lot of these Raimi-isms, if you will, in this film. I think he's a perfect choice for this movie. And you know, the visual style, the cheesy humor, like I mentioned, it's just all there, and you can just tell it has a Sam Raimi stamp on it. And I thought that worked really well for this movie and where they're trying to go with this movie, because now, you know, we're not so much talking about superheroes and people with powers. Now we're kind of delving into the mystical world with magic and spells and whatnot, and that's what Doctor Strange is. That's kind of his whole gist, if you will, his whole thing, his niche. Anyway, so yeah, but I love how this movie explored that, because you get the Scarlet Witch in there as well, and it would do a great service to you if you watch WandaVision, because I think a lot of what happened in WandaVision has now consequences in what happens in this movie. It's not a necessity. You can kind of get what's going on even without watching WandaVision, but it would help give you the backstory. But I love Elizabeth Olsen. She has quite a big role in this movie, in fact, and I thought she was fantastic. She looks great in the Scarlet Witch costume, and her character arc was just very easy to follow and so intriguing. And Benedict Cumberbatch, you know, he's perfect casting at Doctor Strange. He's always done well. And the side characters who are there, always there, Wong and Rachel McAdams as Christine, they all do a great job. But I was really impressed by the young girl playing America Chavez. And I'm sorry to say, I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's such an X, and the rest of it I can't figure it out, but she was fantastic, because, you know, a lot of times these big blockbuster movies, they want to pander to their teenage audience, and as a result, they'll kind of almost dumb down the movie, but this movie didn't do that at all. They could have easily made her a very irritating character, headstrong, but you know, that kind of thing. But no, her performance and her character really worked well within the movie, and I thought she was fantastic. She wasn't just like a MacGuffin. Her character meant something to the film and meant something to the overall plot of the movie, so she was really important to the overall movie, and not just inserted just for the sake of having a teenager, which I think would have been really obvious had they not really executed it well. So great job by the writing team to really incorporate her character in an important way in this movie. And the visuals in this movie are fantastic. I mean, if you've seen Doctor Strange 1, you already know that Doctor Strange, when he enters these astral dimensions and, you know, weird realities, the visual effects are just kind of stunning, and this movie just takes it up a notch. Not a big notch, but you know, it does work. I think it does improve on the previous movie's visual effects. So because there's just so much to play with when you're talking about the multiverse, and that's what I love about where Marvel is going and where movies are going in general. Because once you start talking about the multiverse, it just really opens you up creatively. It allows you so much freedom to do whatever the hell you want. You know, like for example, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which just came out a few weeks ago. Having that movie kind of had the multiverse thing as well, and they were just so creative with what they were able to do. This movie maybe not as creative as that other movie with Michelle Yeoh, but still they did take advantage visually, and it was visually stunning to see all these different universes they entered, and I thought that was really well done. So yeah, visually this movie is stunning. The musical score by Danny Elfman is fantastic. So this movie is just really fun time. I think if you just go in with a clean slate with no expectation, just sit back, relax, and just enjoy the movie for what it is, I think it really works. And I think it's great that now Marvel is like 25 movies or so into their MCU, but this movie, it could have easily fallen guilty of the typical Marvel tropes, but it doesn't. I think that's where Sam Raimi's role is so important here, because this movie doesn't really feel like a Marvel movie. The typical things you see in Marvel films are are not there. The humor is dialed down a little bit, and even when it is there, it has a kind of Sam Raimi twist to the humor. So that typical Marvel lightheartedness is not there. It's a little darker than your typical Marvel film, and it doesn't have, again, the typical Marvel cliches that you see in a lot of Marvel films. I thought that was really refreshing, and I'm glad, because I want them to keep bringing in new talent to make these films, because I believe each character's film should have a different flavor to it, and I think they just nailed it on the head with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So yeah, this movie is super fun. I had a really great time with it. I love the visuals, the acting was great, the story was great, and yeah, Sam Raimi, excellent choice with director. So for me, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness gets an 8 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching my review. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel, MC on Film, for more reviews in the future.